Hello guys, and welcome to my review of the new Master and Dynamic MW07 Plus, which is the successor to the standard MW07, which came out last year. There's also the MW07 Go, which is the more athletic sports oriented version with some stripped down features, but a better water resistant rating than the MW07 Plus. So currently you can pick this up for about $300, and you're not going to really find these on sale because they just came out. So that's that. It's a bit on the, the upper end, upper echelon in terms of the truly wireless pricing segment, but the build quality, as you can see here, does fit that criteria for the price range. Now, next up, we're gonna have the design. As you can see, the case here is a stainless steel chrome finish, absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. It does, however, add some heft and weight to the case, as well as due to stainless steel being a quite it's generally it's not a soft material, but this specific case um in comparison here is the material is kind of soft, so it's very easy to scratch when you're just using it on your day-to-day, taking it in and out of a pocket or a bag. Scratches will appear on this case over time, but as you can see, it's also a fingerprint magnet. But once you wipe this down with a microfiber cloth, this is a very aesthetically pleasing case to look at. Now, the build quality, stainless steel case, so this is going to be a tank. You shouldn't really worry about this in terms of dropping it or day-to-day use. It will get scratched up, but the scratches aren't going to, compromise the integrity of this charging case. Now, let's get inside to the earpieces. Now, inside you have the earpieces, uh, you know, beautiful, nestled in just like that. You can see the Master and Dynamic logo down here. Now, the earpieces themselves are also well built. Let's take one out. And as you can see, earpieces themselves are nicely designed. There's a few other colors. I got the black one here. You can see the Master and Dynamic logo. It has the patented air fin tips here, and then the actual earpiece up here. But the overall build quality on this earpiece is very good. I don't feel any creaking or any areas of where I can feel like the integrity of the overall build quality will be compromised. Very well built earpiece, no complaints there. Comfort wise, these are also very comfortable. The ear tips as well as the air fin, pretty much the variety of choices that you have could get you a very good fit, basically. So comfort wise, I don't have any issues. They fit snug in my ears. The weight of the earpieces does not annoy me after time. So excellent comfort wise. Control layout, the left earpiece has the volume up and down controls, as well as the basically it is like an ambient aware mode. So if you press and hold the volume up for about a second or two, it'll activate the ambient aware mode. If you press and hold the same volume, it'll disable the ambient aware mode. There's also a noise canceling mode. If you press and hold the volume down for a second or two, it will basically activate and enable the noise canceling mode. Now on the right earpiece, there is the multi-function button. Pressing and holding it for about 5 to 7 seconds will put this into repairing mode. Pressing it once will play pause, answer and hang up phone calls. Double press will advance a track. Triple press will go back a track. So you have your full set of controls there. You can also summon your voice assistant with that multi-function button on the right earpiece. So kudos there in terms of the overall, essentials in terms of the controllability from the earpieces themselves. So next up, let's get to the storage case. So I went over the build quality. So the storage case is not only is it aesthetically pleasing, it also holds a lot of battery. So you can get about 3 charges out of this. So the earpieces, as rated by Master and Dynamic, can last up to about 10 hours. So earpiece longevity in terms of the battery life is really up there in terms of the category of truly wireless. So the back of the earpiece case is a USB-C input, and you can see the serial number as well. And in the front, basically just tells you the 3 charges, and you have green, yellow, and red signifying basically the amount of battery left. Yellow being medium, green being a good charge, whether it's full or close to full, and red being in that you should recharge this case soon. Um, that's about it for the case, really. It's pretty simple and looks very well. So next up, we're gonna have the battery life. Battery life on this, like I stated before, you can get 10 hours, up to 10 hours of use from the earpieces themselves. And overall, with the case, you can get up to 40 hours, which is insane, especially for this category. A quick 15-minute charge will get you about 5 hours of use. And if you want to charge the earpieces to full, it takes about 40 minutes. So the earpieces not only last a long time, but they can charge really, really quick. So kudos again, Master Dynamic, in terms of the battery of this product here. Now let's go over the Bluetooth codecs. Let's see here. So Bluetooth codecs and the version supported, of course, 2019, you had to have Bluetooth 5.0. These support Bluetooth 5.0, thankfully. And the codec supported, however, is kind of an oddball here. It supports SBC, which is the standard for all Bluetooth connectivity. But it also supports aptX. Now, you may think, all right, that's a good, Bluetooth codec support list, but it does not support the AAC codec. So if you're using an iOS device, you don't have AAC support because iOS devices use AAC as opposed to aptX. But if you're using an Android device, you're fine. This will use aptX, but this does not have AAC support. So this would not get you the best experience if you're using an iOS device. Personally, I haven't run into any kind of audio latency issues. So I guess it's the Bluetooth 5.0. The SBC codec under Bluetooth 5.0 standard probably is improved, but I would have loved to see AAC support for my iOS devices. But thankfully with my Galaxy Note 10 Plus, it registers under the developer options as aptX. So that's that. Now, active noise canceling performance, because this does have it, is pretty, it's decent. It does definitely, reduce the intensity of lower frequencies like bus engines, road noise, fan, motor noise, stuff of that nature. But it's not really a drastically effective approach such as, truly wireless like the AirPods Pro, the Sony WF-1000XM3, or, the king of the crop, the Sony WH-1000XM3, as well as the Bose noise canceling 700 headphones. These, on the other hand, is pretty mediocre. It's a very subtle kind of active noise canceling, but it has it. So it's kind of like I have to point it out. But I wouldn't really get these just for its noise canceling performance because it's not really as effective as, the other top dogs in this category. So the ambient aware mode it's pretty good. It's not as natural sounding as the AirPods Pro, but definitely when you put it on, it allows you to definitely hear your surroundings, but it does sound digital and not as open and not as clear as if you didn't have the earpieces on. Whereas with the AirPods Pro, it literally sounds like you took the earpiece, sorry, it sounds like you took the earpiece out of your ears, basically just signifying how clear and clean that ambient aware mode sounds. But these pretty mediocre ambient aware. You definitely hear what's going on around you, but definitely you can tell that this is being pumped through a microphone system. Doesn't sound as clear and open. Call quality wise on these, it's kind of a letdown. I did read on the box a lot that this is supposed to have a 4 mic array to further improve the call quality. They even say that they had the best call quality in their class. A lot of that marketing mumbo jumbo, but honestly, the call quality on this is pretty mediocre. If you're in a noisy environment, I wouldn't even bother using this. I tried to actually answer a business call earlier, and I was told that it was really difficult to hear me, basically. So I had to take this out of my ears and use my phone and, continue the call. Whereas with my AirPods Pro, that same environment, I would have been just fine. Moderately loud environments, also, this is kind of like a little bit of an issue here. There's not as much noise that it has to compete with, but the overall pickup of audio for the microphones for call quality is rather poor. It's like you sound kind of muffled when you're coming through the call stream. So even though there's not much noise to, separate from your voice when it's moderately loud, your voice pickup itself isn't the best quality. And of course, when you're in a quiet environment, it's of course going to do a good job because there's no noise to really combat against. But like I said, the voice pickup, the quality of that implementation is not good. You kind of sound a bit muffled. So the call quality on this, I would definitely steer away if you take a lot of calls. For me, it just wasn't a great experience. Next up, let's go over the sound quality. So the sound quality of the Master Dynamics MW07 Plus is a very detailed sound, very clear. I would say it's relatively neutral, a little bit too bright, I would say. Overall, the sound signature is a bit too bright, and it kind of robs from the sense of naturalism in the vocals and the mid-range frequencies. There's a bit too much emphasis in the upper harmonics. When you crank the volume on these, the volume headroom as well is just kind of mediocre. It doesn't really get that loud. And also, these do not like to be EQ'd at all. If you bump the EQ up a little bit, just a little bit, it will introduce a good amount of distortion into the music. Whereas other headphones that I have, I can, equalize to my heart extent, and I don't hear the speaker beginning to distort as a result of the equalization. Whereas with these, you have to leave them on stock or else you're going to get some distortion. Generally speaking, it's good to EQ where you cut the frequencies, but the speakers in here, they generally they don't like to be pushed further than what they've been tuned to. So let's get more into the actual tuning of the sound. So the bass frequencies on the MW07 Plus, it's very neutral. It's very deep as well. Very good extension. The control on the bass is excellent, very tight. I don't really sense any bleed over into the mid-range. Overall, it's a good bass response. It's definitely not significantly above neutral. It's kind of slightly above neutral, but it's very well taught, well reproduced, and a good overall bass presentation. Mid-range wise, I feel like the vocals have good tonal balance, very clear, very good sense of depth. The soundstage on these are actually pretty good. It's just that the sense of warmth and the sense of just fullness in that lower mid-range in the foundations of the music kind of just seems a bit too cold for my listening preferences. I feel like there's a bit too much energy in the upper mid-range frequencies, the lower treble. And I feel like there's also a kind of like a spike in the upper treble. That upper treble spike I do like because it does bring forth a lot of, reverbs and air and ambiance to the music. But the lower treble, I kind of steer away from sound signatures that boost the lower treble. Because while that does bring forth a lot of kind of sparkle to the music and some kind of presence, it does also introduce sibilance and kind of create this harsh tonal balance. And this kind of unfortunately has those characteristics. This does sound slightly V-shaped when you think about it. It does have a boosted treble, slightly boosted bass, but I would say the treble is more elevated over the other frequencies. Mid-range takes a little bit of a backseat. Overall mid-range, like I said previously, the tonal balance is good because it's balanced. There's no dips or any strange peaks in the overall mid-range, except for the upper mid-range portion. But the frequency boost is mostly in the lower treble, which kind of robs the overall sound of the naturalness and the warmth to the overall sound signature. And as a result, I personally don't enjoy listening to these. They're great for analytical listening. You hear a lot of details and nuances because of that elevated treble. Brings a lot of clarity into the mix. But in terms of enjoyment, I would say that I wouldn't choose these as my first option, my second option, or even my third option for musical enjoyment because of its sound signature. So overall, these are a pretty good, decent-ish option for the truly wireless. The price does make it where I can't really recommend them because there are definitely better options that are cheaper. If this was about $200 or so, then I would have like a different tune. I'd be like, all right, these are great for the price, but for $300, I would still definitely choose the AirPods Pro or the Sony WF-1000 XM3 over these. I'd probably even go as far as to choosing the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless, because the Sennheisers just sound amazing. Those are probably still my favorite overall sound in truly wireless earphones, but the Sennheisers has a lot of issues when you go past the sound section and you introduce the battery. How's the battery? How's the overall connectivity? It still has a master slave connection set up. The app is kind of buggy and glitchy, so the Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless, the sound is out of this world for its category, but it does have a lot of work to get going with, and I can't wait till the next iteration comes. The Sony's definitely a better option overall than these across the board, except for battery life and the water resistant. So the water resistance on this is IPX4. Sony's don't have any water resistant label at all, but I still would choose the Sony's over these. They have better noise canceling on the Sony's. The sound is better in terms of my opinion. The call quality is about the same, but they also have an app so you can adjust the active noise canceling, the sound signature, stuff of that nature. AirPods Pro, my favorite overall pick. I would definitely, of course, choose that over the Master and Dynamics. The AirPods Pro has a better sound signature, way better call quality, better noise canceling, better integration in terms of the Bluetooth connectivity. They're also the same IPX4 rated water resistance. The fit is a bit easier to put in and out. It's just a better overall experience using the AirPods Pro than these. So these, I can't recommend them, but this was a great try, and it's also a good addition to the overall vast lineup that we have for Truly Wireless. So if there has been something in this video review that I haven't covered, please let me know, and I'll try to answer them to the comments below at my best ability. And thanks for watching, guys. Later.